All right, everybody, let's sound off. PC editor Jordan Devore,
Hi, everybody.
contributor Brett Zeidler,
That's me.
and I am news editor Conrad Zimmerman. Let's get down with the news. So, Diablo III, sadly, struck by delay. Jordan?
Shocked. No, I'm not. This whole year they had been saying, oh, well, we'd really like to get it out in 2011. We'll probably get the beta out, which they did, but we don't know. And what do you know? They're not going to hit the time frame, so not really a shock. Kind of the Blizzard way.
Does it seem like it needed to push back? Or if you
I
played
haven't played the
know.
beta, so I'm not lucky enough to say.
Okay.
Hint, hint, Blizzard. Blizzard, I know every single one of your employees is listening to this right now, and they care. They really deeply care.
You're clearly heartbroken.
Yeah.
Like, people are streaming it and showing videos.
I know, right?
Well, I think Max Scoville is streaming it like right now, or
Oh, is he?
minutes ago, yeah, on the live Detroit show today. So lots of people are playing it, and I guess it, as long as the momentum of the beta isn't lost for people, pushing it back into 2012, everyone's going to buy the game anyway.
Yeah, I don't think it matters. This is one of those games where it can come out any time of the year and still do really well, so they have nothing to be worried about.
And neither do any of us. We should all sleep well at night knowing
Yes.
Diablo 3 is still going to come out. So, Dark Souls struck with some problems on launch in Japan. Apparently the online capabilities haven't been functioning the way that they're supposed to be, and From Software is working on a patch.
Yeah, and that's really sad because, like, every game that comes out now that has online, it's plagued with problems right on launch. Like, there's obviously Dead Island, Space Marine had issues.
Oh, it did? Wow.
Yeah, on the
It's
PC,
true.
I don't know about console, but yeah, like the multiplayer wasn't working right. So, yeah.
I don't understand. I mean, well, I guess you have to be a little understanding because the difference between a test server environment and the live internet environment can be different.
This is why they have betas for every game ever these days.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, they don't have betas anymore. They have
Demos. But that's not to say they don't get something out of those, which I
Right.
think they do.
I just think that the beta has become more of a promotional
It
tool
has.
than it has actually a fact-finding exercise. I mean, how many betas have you been in the last few years, and how many support tickets have you sent in?
I will say that the Gears of War one must have been a success because Gears 3 seems to be doing just fine. I haven't had any problems with it.
All the Halo betas, those are always, they get so much feedback from them, and
Right, it really
those
just
are
depends.
always really fun and executed. And
It depends how early they're doing it. Like this Battlefield one, which is like the end of it's next week,
Yeah,
and the
that's
game's
weird.
almost out. That's not gonna be
so that one
unless
seems
they're just really
like,
unless they're
just
gonna
want-
be doing crunch time like crazy. Crunch time, I mean.
Well, then that's kind of weird because that's right next to the launch.
God only knows.
It's just a really big trend, and it kind of sucks that.
So for Dark Souls, are they already working on patches? Is this gonna affect the U.S.?
Yeah,
and
the
Europe?
word is that From Software is already working on a patch, and I can't really talk about Dark Souls right now. I'm under an embargo restricting me, so I can't really speak to what my experience has been like there. But the online is not functioning for anybody, as far as I'm aware.
Okay.
And
makes
they're working
sense.
on a patch to get that out. Yeah, I think if it's going to be a problem, it's going to be a universal problem, so hopefully they'll have it fixed here with the Japanese release in plenty of time for the US launch in October.
Cool.
That's good news.
Okay, so Nintendo, once again reiterating, hey, we don't want to design for the mobile marketplace outside of our own hardware.
Yeah, and they had another Nintendo excuse as well.
What was the Nintendo
It was
excuse?
something like we can't do games and hardware at the same time and do smartphone games because 3 things is too many. We can't handle
Well,
it.
you know what,
They
considering how...
don't want their projects going out of their in-house studio or something
right,
like
that's
that.
what it was. Something like that, really close.
Well, considering how frequently they actually put out software, that's actually almost a believable excuse.
Sure.
No, it just seems absolutely silly to me. They're missing out on a huge profit opportunity, and it's not going to dilute the brand. Nintendo games are so strong that they could be reduced in quality by 20%, and nobody would give a damn. They'd still keep buying them up. I'm not advocating the reduced quality of Nintendo-produced titles, but let's be perfectly frank, they could be expanding their business out. I'm grateful they're not doing it. Why don't they just say, hey, we're making enough money?
Right, because that's what it comes down to. The second they stop making enough money, then they would have to start considering doing this seriously.
Exactly.
I think they just don't want to see their games on phones or something. I don't know.
That's part of it.
Like they just don't
an ego
Nintendo
thing?
brand on anything other than a Nintendo console.
How practical do you think that's going to be in the long term? I mean, Sony's still doing it, Microsoft's still doing it. Of course, Microsoft sends a lot to the PC marketplace. All of that stuff goes out to marketplaces outside of...
Right. Well, Microsoft is getting into Windows Phone, and there are live arcade games on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It kind of reminds me of Sega before they dropped out of the hardware race. Who knows if that'll end up... I don't think that'll happen to Nintendo necessarily, unless it happens industry-wide, but... they're saying now, oh, we're not going to do it, but it could eventually come to that.
Do you think that there is a point where we're not going to have consoles any longer at all, and so that wouldn't be an issue?
I think they're all going to be consoles.
If anything happens, it'll just be lower demand, so they can't necessarily put as much into making them and have them be so expensive. I think there will always be a dedicated audience, enough so to make profits.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Nobody can see those things coming, but
Right.
I think we'll always have consoles. I think that's just...
We probably will, and there's that whole one console future theory that gets out there from time to time. People are like, oh, wouldn't it be great if there was that one platform and everything worked on it? And I don't see that as being practical. I see it as an excuse for them to stop developing new hardware at that point, and an opportunity for stagnation. But, oh well. Last but not least, Sony. Good old Sony. Sony is
What's the thing called?
It's the Sony Visor? Is that what that's called?
I don't know what it's actually called.
Sony has released details and then release dates, pricing for their new head-mounted helmet, 3D audio video virtual experience. Yeah. This is, I guess, to replace your home theater system by putting it entirely on your skull.
Okay, so have any of you guys worn one of these before? Because I don't understand. Wouldn't everything just be too close to your face? Wouldn't that just freak you out?
Well, the idea is, I think, now, the principle's been around for a long time. Sony used to have these sort of sunglasses that you could wear. And Gabe from Penny Arcade, he had a pair, talked about them at some length on the blog over at Penny Arcade. And what it's just that they're small screens. They're just ultra high resolution, and so that gives you the distance from your eyes that it needs. So I can see that I can see it working. It's $800, which is just like
you can buy 3 PS3s and have money to spare. Before paying all that money.
And this is just your, TV. You want your PS3, it's another $400, and then you're going to want to build a backpack for it and make all this portable. And it looks stupid.
It really does. That's the funny. Of course it does. I mean.
Well, yeah, but I mean, did they get Daft Punk to design it?
If they did, I would want it. That's the thing.
That's true. I'd consider paying $800 for a piece of Daft Punk.
They just need to straight up make it a Daft Punk helmet.
Oh my goodness! I would buy 5 of those.
Yeah.
Okay, now we've given them the business strategy.
Okay.
We know
I'll be billing them.
Get Daft Punk involved to have my money.
Shut up and take my money. Yeah.
That's odd. This is the future of 3D, though. You see what this
Oh,
is
it's
why
3D.
you see why nobody. Yeah, it's 3D. Of course, it's 3D. It's Sony and it's AV. It's got 3D. This is how it always goes. 3D just gets ridiculous.
Victory.